can see I've got my camera on, and I've also got my green screen working. Probably I need better lighting. It's really hard to tweak all the settings in OBS, which I'm using to stream, um, and then apply the green screen without a lot of fiddling around with the settings to get the best size and best view, and probably nowhere near got the right settings yet, but it's a work in progress. And also I need to work on getting some lighting. At the moment I've only got really one house light, one extra light, and it looks like that's enough to make the green screen work, but it's probably not enough to illuminate my face. So it feels like I'm maybe a little bit dark, but that's fine. I'll just sit in the corner here and you can watch me looking tired and staring into space a lot. The other thing as well with the lights, I'm not really used to working with really bright lights pointing in my face, so it might be that having really bright lights on the green screen may be too distracting. I'm not sure. We'll wait and see. But for now, let's keep going. So yesterday the plan was to get the basic infrastructure up and running, and now the plan tonight is to add a very basic user login so that we can log in with different users, and that'll set us up nicely to be able to create a match between two users. And I think that's important for testing out the mechanics. We'll probably have AI as well, but to start with, we'll go this route. I'm going to keep it very bare bones and minimal, but I am going to have some kind of web CSS. I think I'm just going to borrow one of the Bootstrap themes and work with that because it's quick and it's easy. So I'm going to grab a Bootstrap theme and put it in my web app. So I think the best place to put this is probably going to be in the public directory inside web app. New folder, public. So I'm feeling pretty tired today, so I don't know what kind of mistakes I'm going to make. Probably quite a few. Bootstrap.min.css. I just stolen this from a Bootstrap website. Okay, so in order to get that working, we could do with having a index in the public as well. I can't seem to operate anything today. Okay, index.html. There you go. So we're going to start with the basic HTML. This will be the doc type, which will be HTML. This will be HTML. We'll close the HTML tag. Let's give it a basic head. some meta char set. I'm going to give it UTF-8. And a title. Oh, that was nice. It completed it for me, but didn't do a good job. Alright, so this one I'm going to call Goa Mech. Guardians of Axum Mechanics. That's what that stands for. And next we are going to have a look at bringing in the different CSS and anything else that we need. And I think it's probably wise in here to put a viewport. So I'll create one of those. It's a meta name viewport, and here what we want, let's make this a bit bigger, and the content is maximum scale, and set it to 1. The width, we'll just go with the device width, and the initial scale we'll set to 1.0, and let's set a user scalable as well. We'll set that to 0. Okay, and then we'll set another meta tag, HTTP criv, and let's say X. This is going to be UA compatible. We may as well do the edge. Right, now let's link a style sheet. Okay, this is going to be in min. Oh, hello, Sigma Heavy Industries. What blockchain are you using for your game? Okay, so actually I'm using my own blockchain, Sushi Chain, which I wrote from scratch. And the game logic is actually going to be separated from the blockchain. So we don't have smart contracts in Sushi Chain. All of the different types of logic that you can use, like smart contract logic, is available but not inside the blockchain, so it runs on the nodes. But I think at the moment the plan is to use the blockchain to store assets. So the trading cards will become assets and they'll be stored in the blockchain. So then trading of the assets will happen on the blockchain. Okay, so let's now go and put a body in here. There's my body, and let's load the script. So the blockchain integration, still figuring out. I don't really want the user to be to have too much problem with wallets and all of the crypto stuff. I think initially I'm going to try and hide that away until the user starts to understand how that works, and then give them the option to separate the wallet away from the game if they want to do that. But I think to start with, I'm going to try and make it seamless so that there is a wallet. Obviously, you need one to interact with the blockchain, but I think we'll make it less obvious to start with, and then give them an option to download that wallet maybe later. So I really don't like having to put a private key anywhere. So when we have the blockchain, it'll most likely be a downloadable encrypted file, and any sensitive data will be inside that. It's so easy to, if it's especially in open source projects, for people to just take the open source code and then put up a fake scam site that looks really like the original, and then you put your private key in, and suddenly you lose all your money. Or even worse, they set it up so it looks like a real one, and then they keep it going for quite a long time until people sort of start to trust it, and then suddenly they steal all the money. Yeah, it is a problem though. I don't want to alienate any of the non-crypto users to start with. Okay. So let's close the script tag. Okay, so I got an index page. What's going on here? This is still showing that. So now I think I need to make some changes to the Mint configuration. Where's Mint? Yeah, smart contracts can be problematic for sure, and there's a lot of different issues with just building smart contracts to start with. You've got to get them right. It can be expensive. That's one of the reasons why we don't have on-chain smart contracts in CityChain. I don't know, in the future we might add some. We have to think carefully about it. But at the moment, I don't really have plans for that. I'm hoping that the general idea is you start your own node and you build all your application logic in the node. Yeah, it's proof of work at the moment. We've got a plan to have like a hybrid consensus mechanism where data goes through another algorithm, and I'm not sure which one that'll be. I've been looking at a few different ones: proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of burn. But I want data to be fast, so apps can be fast, and I want currency to still go through proof of work. Yeah, I wrote it from scratch, so it's not a fork of anything. It's written in Crystal. It's written using concepts from Bitcoin and from Ethereum. Yeah, so it was quite a lot of work. Well, we started off with scripting, but very recently we switched to Argon 2. So public. Alright, source, main. Okay, so now we need to ditch this main here and create something new. So this is Mint, which is a bit like React really. So I'm going to create an application. I'm so tired. Exposing page. Yeah, I know. I went to a few blockchain expos. I went to the Malta one in last year. I also went to Silicon Valley in November, and yeah, people were saying to me, "Yeah, so which one did you fork?" I was like, "I didn't fork anything. We didn't fork it. We wrote it from scratch." It was funny. Okay, I'm gonna do a basic page thing here. So we just have a couple of pages, and the first thing is gonna be a name, and we're gonna have login. We should probably start with register. Actually, makes more sense. So name, contents. It's gonna be a register component. Now I need a record. I'm just going to stick it here. UI, pager, item, contents. It's going to be HTML, and the name is going to be a string. Okay. Now I need to render inside the component. Fun render HTML. Right. Now I think I'll make a layout. This is supposed to be super lightweight and not have tons of complicated stuff because it's only supposed to be a prototype to play with the mechanics. So I got to try and avoid doing too much here. Content. Alright, so for this we get some pages. Oops. And then we've got an array. Let's find. And here we'll say the item, which is the UI pager item. And then, oh, cool. Yeah, it is cool. A bool item name matches the page. Okay, and then we will. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, so now we need to map that. We get a maybe out of that. Yeah, unwrap the maybe. This should be a UI page item. Turn some HTML. I'll just get the item contents. And lastly, put a default empty div. Okay, now we need a register component. I think I will make a components folder in source. So this is not a great time to stream because it's late at night and my kids are asleep. So I can't be too loud or noisy. I have tried Golang. I have tried a little bit. The reason I chose Crystal is because I really like the Ruby syntax and I like the typed aspect and I like the speed and the native aspect. So I think they're the main reasons, and it's a very new and niche language, so not many people know about it. So people are always asking me, what is it? Right, new folder, components, and then I'm going to create pages, and then we'll create the register as a page. Register mint. Okay, so register component register. Right, let's set a state for the email. String, let's set a state for the name. So then we'll have like the name, and then we'll have a password. Again, I should really not overdo this, but I don't know if this will be used by a few people who just want to like help me beta test the game mechanics. So I'll do some basic stuff at least. Right. Yeah, so I need to render a basic page here, which render HTML. So I think I'll start just with a div that's going to say register. One of the things about Mint which is slightly more cumbersome is you have to put plain text in these tags here. I'm going to ask the author if he'll consider allowing this plain text to sit inside a div or inside elements, because that'd be a lot easier, especially if you copy and paste HTML around. So what's this thing? Contents register. Yes, okay. We don't need that. Missing parenthesis. That's why I like the compiler in Mint, because it helps me to spot mistakes, and it's easy to make mistakes. So the find starts here, finishes there, and then item. I was in for closing parenthesis, but found. Oh yes. So this map needs an extra one there. Yes, now we need application. So that's a store, and it just stores application data. So I'm going to create another folder called store, and in here I'm going to create application. Application. It's pretty crazy at the expos, especially the Malta one, how many different projects there are, how many crypto projects, how many blockchain projects. Some of them are completely crazy, and some of them are like, you just wouldn't think you would need a blockchain for any of those projects. I mean, you probably don't really need a blockchain unless you're like blockchain enthusiast, which a lot of people are these days. But I think it's important to separate crypto from the underlying tech, the blockchain tech. Right, so give this application the page, which is a string, and what else do we need here? set page, we need a function called set page, which will take the page and will return the promise, and then sequence. In a sequence, we'll HTTP abort all, so stop whatever's going on, and we'll just force the page to switch to this page that we asked for. Okay, what's he complaining about now? UI page item. Oh yeah. Get page. UI page, yeah. UI page, yeah. Alright, now we just need our layout, which I'm going to make as a component. New file, layout document, component layout. I'm going to connect the application, expose the page, and create a property. Oops, a property. Children. I think soon there's going to be some awesome artwork coming for the game. I've already got quite a lot of awesome artwork, but the new artwork is gonna have a lot more characters in the cards. So at the moment we've got 4 main themes, and those themes are going to be the base for the different trading card decks. We need to make a lot of different cards for a card pre-sale, so the artists are going to be working on creating various different interesting looking minions and characters. Alright, so that compiles. Seem to have a empty screen now, so now we need to figure out why I don't have anything rendering. So what's the main page? Oh yes, if the name is registered, we go there. So we also need to redirect somewhere when you first land on the page. So that's going to be a 404 if something's not found. That's the first thing, and I'll put that at the bottom here. Name not found. Contents. I'm just going to put a simple div here. .404. Alright, I need some roots. That's the next thing. That'll make everything work. Roots, I think, going to live out in source. New file. So one of the other issues with Crystal is there's not much editor support. So normally I work in Scala and I use IntelliJ, which is awesome. It's got great refactoring tools, but here in Crystal we don't really have the same level of tooling. I think it'll come eventually. I wrote the beginnings of an IntelliJ plugin for Mint, but such a lot of work. It's like a whole entire project in itself, and I didn't really want to spend all my time supporting another open source application. especially one which is so intense as writing a language plugin. So I originally tried D when I was getting a bit frustrated with Ruby because it was so slow and I wanted something really fast. And I just wanted a fast Ruby. I kind of wanted Crystal back then, but it wasn't available. And so D was an interesting thing. Actually, I only went to D really because I wanted to write C extensions to make Ruby faster. But then I started messing around with C, and I was like, I don't really like this. So then I saw D, and it looked pretty cool. So then I got into D, and I ended up building an IntelliJ language plugin for D, which turned out to be a huge project and took like 3 years. Then I managed to hand that over to some more D people. So it's still going and it's looking pretty good. But it's such an effort. So I decided not to continue with the Crystal one. But I really hope someone builds one. And also, there was no editor for Mint either, so I've written this Atom editor. Right, let's go to register to start with on root. Anything else that we don't know about, we're going to go to not found. Right, register, yay. So really now we could do with having some nice login thing. So I'm going to start with it in the register component. Well, in the register page, actually. It's not really a component. And then we'll build it out from there. We'll move it out from there. So, Bootstrap. Let me remember how to do Bootstrap. Okay, so I think how this works is you have a container. First. And inside the container, we're going to have a card. Yeah, a card. I'm going to make a card. Div class card. I'm going to be like a login card. Let's do 5 here. Okay. So I think if I move this over a bit, get a better view. Okay, and then we need another div inside here, and this div is going to be card header, I believe. And I put register in there. Oh, yes, that's what I was saying before. Need to put these things like this. Okay, now I need a body for the card. So far it's not looking great. I don't know why I'm not seeing my style yet. I must have messed that up. Okay, I'll keep going anyway. And to put the body and yeah, I'm going to put a form inside the body. Although right now I'm just going to put I'm seeing register there. Just not seeing any styles. So what's happened to my styles? Just reload the watcher. Let's inspect. So what we got? Oh, we're missing the head. Okay, missing the head. So that tells me that this index is not being pulled across correctly. If I look in public, yes, I do have this one. Oh yes, Stylesheet. I didn't put the Stylesheet in. It would help if I put the Stylesheet in. Oh, and the manifest JSON. Okay. Right, so Stylesheet lives in Bootstrap .min.css, and let's do another link here. Rel manifest href manifest.json. Okay, what we got now? Bootstrap min.css. What is this? Still not what I want. What's console saying? Manifest, theme, blah blah blah, style, overflow. Yeah, that's not using the right thing. Okay, so I think I need to make some changes in mint.json. Name, web app. So bootstrap min should be being copied. Here it is, yes. Index should be being copied. So where's the watcher? Source web app public, index.html into public. Source web app public. Source web app public, index.html. So that should be being copied. Go on Mac. Title. That doesn't seem to be being copied into here. Although it is in here. Let's restart this one. And let's restart this one. So I think these things are always much harder when you're tired. Yeah, so it's loading the wrong index. That's public. Maybe I need to set some static file loading. Let's check. domain. So I probably need to have something that when you call root, it loads the index page. Yeah, that's probably what I'm missing. So this thing really needs to do a context response content type of text HTML and context response headers. No, not that. File read, file join, public, and index.html. If we start this guy, okay, so when I call root here, right, that's looking better. Okay, I think as well I do need to do some set the return types to be JSON. So before I'll do context and context content type, context response content type is going to be application JSON. So for every request, we're now going to treat it as JSON. Headers add. Okay, now we're going to add the access control, allow origin on everything. That's just so we can run this on two different servers and still be able to save the content without having a cross-origin issue. Right, so I've got a register. It's not looking super yet. Now we need to add a bit more. So I think I can close this up, move this back over to the side. There we go. It's quite a dark theme that I've chosen here. Right, form. Let's make a form. Okay, so now the thing to do is create a number of inputs. So I'm going to have email. I'm going to have email, name, password, repeat password, and login button. So we'll create a div. This is Bootstrap, so I should be able to have a form group. Div. Okay, now I should be able to have a form label group, I think. A form label group. And in my form label group, I need an input. This input is going to be of type email. It's going to be a form control, and let's give it a placeholder, which is going to be email address. Let's say we should auto focus it. And let's create a, yeah, that should be enough. Email address. Well, doesn't look super amazing, but at least it's showing up. Okay, so now we want to have a name field, which is just going to be like this one, but this is going to be text, and it's going to be name, and then another one which is going to be password. Don't really need a placeholder for that one. Email address, name, it's a password box, and then we'll do repeat password here. Right, how about a label? Maybe that'll help. So after each, yeah, if I put each one in its own form group and put a label within the form group. So I put a label here, label for, let's call it input email, and then email address. Close the label. I'll just move this stuff out a second. Not really quite the right place. Okay, it's better. Email address. And then another form label group. Okay, and this one's going to be the name. Another one. For password. This is name. Well, it's very exciting. Let's take this, put this here, and then the last group is the repeat password. Repeat password. Repeat password. 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 Alright, so now we have the various fields. Could do with a bit more styling there, but that'll do for now. I wonder, I think each one should be in its own form group as well. That will probably fix a few things. So I just switch this out here, take that here, form group, form group, form group, form group, okay. Yeah, that's way better. And I think if I put a class on the input, or an ID on the input, yeah, if I put an ID on the input, I think that will help as well. This is input email. This one is input name. And this one is input password. And this one is input repeat password. That's great. Okay, so getting somewhere. Now I've got I need a button now. Register button. And I think that's just going to be an A link, or do I need an actual button? I think I need an actual button. So this form group, 1, 2, 1, 2, then we've got the form. Now I wonder if I should put everything inside another div. No, I think I'll just stick it out here. Let's see what it looks like. Let's make a button. And this button is going to have a class of button primary, button block, and some text, which will be register. Yay, register. Okay, so now we have a very basic registration form. Let's wire that up. So the main things I'm going to need to make that work are some state, and I think in order for that state to work, I might need a store for that. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll just keep it all in register mint though. So we've got email name, password, repeat password. So I need to hook those up with the render. So the input itself here, this one's going to need an on input. On an input, I'm going to say on email, and then yeah, I'm not even going to check the various different validations that I could check. I think we're just going to go with yeah, super basic thing. Okay, so we'll just say fun on email. We give it an event, which is an HTML event. Returns a promise of never void, and in here we will just set the value basically. So email is going to be dom get value from event. Okay, what's this? Get value. Gets value is a string element. Don't get value. Oh yes, sorry. Need to get the target there. That's it. Okay, so now I should be able to type in email address, and it should be getting stored in the state for email. Okay, so we'll do the same for the other ones. On email, on name, on password, on repeat password. On name, on password, on repeat password. So this is going to be name, password, repeat password. So on input email, on input on name, on input on password, and finally on repeat password. So I think probably on repeat password, yeah, I mean, we could check that both passwords are the same. That's probably the minimum thing that we should do, and probably should just do that on and raise a basic alert if the passwords aren't the same. But then everything else, as long as they're not empty, then maybe that's enough. Okay, so we need a button where we do the registration. So this button is going to have an on click. And here we're going to do the registration. Do registration. I think here we'll need to do some interaction with the back end here. So deregistration, it's going to take an event, HTML event. Again, it's a promise, never void. And let's create a sequence. So now we're going to interact with the back end. So we haven't written this yet. So I'm just going to do a prevent default on the event, and now I'm going to create a user who has an email, a name, and a password. So this is a record. So now we need some registration data, and we'll just encode user as JSON, and then we'll create a response which will be to HTTP post. We'll post to HTTP localhost 123 API register, and we'll pipe that out into string body JSON.stringify registration data and send. There we go. Okay, now if the response status is 500, then we will do a next register error to set to the response body. If it's anything else, we'll go window navigate. Right, we need some sort of landing area. I'm going to call it dashboard, I think, to start with. So we're going to navigate to a dashboard. Okay, so after all of this, we could still, yes, after we've navigated to the dashboard, yeah, there could still be some kind of errors that we need to catch here. So this is on the case statement, but I think on the whole sequence we should catch any HTTP error, response error, and we should set the register error to be could not register user. Something went wrong. Yes, we need a user, a record. I think I'm going to call this user registration credentials. I'm going to stick it up here inside register because it's related to register. It's record user registration credentials. Or maybe I should call it request. User registration. Or just user registration. Email. Yep, definitely feeling pretty tired about now. Email, name, and password. That's the things we need to send to the other side there. Right, what's on the string body? String body doesn't exist. It's probably a capital B, I guess. So, okay, so when I click the registration button, it's now going to try and fire a call to the back end. Let's just look at network. So yes, it did a post to API register, and we haven't implemented that yet, so that was the correct response. I went to dashboard. Actually, why did you go to dashboard? Let's just do that again. Register. It posted. Oh, it got 200 back. Yes. Okay. That's why. It was just saying it didn't know it, but it gave back a 200. Right. I think it's probably not great, even on such a simple test app, that we allow the email, the name, password, repeat password to be empty. So I think we should deal with that. I think valid here is just them not being empty. I think I'll do that on the submit here. Let's put that back over here. Just close that up. Move this back over here. And on my deregistration event, actually I think I'll do it on the button state. Because then I can disable the button until everything has been validated, and then you won't get to press it, so it won't fire the event. I could also do it on the deregistration, but since I want the button anyway to not be clickable, I'm going to do it here. Right, so string is empty name, or string is empty password, or string is empty repeat password. Oh, hold on, what about email? Makes sense to email first, wouldn't it? String is empty email, and we should also check if yes, we should also check if password does not equal repeat password. I think that's right. And then the create buttons state can sit on the window. At the moment we're not getting any alerts, so maybe we should add an alert to say what the problem is. Yeah, I think we should do that. So definitely on the repeat password we can have a message. Okay, so first I think we'll just go ahead and attach the HTML on the button so that the button here, I have to reformat this. On this button, if I do a disabled, is create button state. So now I think if I reload this, yes, it's now disabled. I put some stuff in here and here. Now if I put A, B, C, I just put A here, it's still not enabled, but I put C, now it's enabled. So that's good. So let's create a little alert on the repeat password div. I think it has to go here. Let's call it passwords not matching alert. And where should we put that? Up here somewhere. So get passwords not matching alert, HTML, and here we say if string is empty password and string is empty repeat password. So they're all empty, then we'll let that be caught by something else. That's if, else if password matches repeat password. Then again we'll do nothing. And if the string is empty, yeah, let's do the other way as well. So if repeat password is empty, do we need to do this? Let's see. No. Maybe not. Let's skip that one for a second. Let's do an else. Then let's make a alert. Alerts in Bootstrap, I think we'll get a nice warning alert. Let's make a div. And I'll have a class of alert danger. Role is alert. And here we'll have some text that says the password and repeat password you entered do not match. Yes, I do think it's about time someone created a blockchain-based trading card game. I am creating one right away. I'm also creating a blockchain, so it might be a while. Okay, let's see what happens now. Type yes. It's quite pink. Pink's a bit pink. Well, it's only a very basic prototype. Okay, so that does it. Can't register yet. I'm not really bothered about checking the email address validity or the name validity, but checking the password doesn't match is very helpful. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the backend in place so that when you click register, it'll register, store it in the database, and that's probably as far as I'm going to go today. And I think once I get that working, tomorrow I should be able to log in, and then the day after I should be able to start creating the basic card. I think I'll create an interface for adding cards, and I think also I'll add a sort of an admin section so that the game designers can add cards, and then we can like do a very basic match off against different decks of cards. Yeah, not Bitcoin related. Yeah, a lot of people are just saying, "Oh, I don't know what to do with blockchain. I don't know if it is really a solution to any real problem, or whether it's being implemented as a solution just because it's a hyped up tech at the moment." And it's probably a mistake for a lot of businesses to pick blockchain just because it's a popular or hyped up or buzzword or whatever. I think 99% of projects I've seen could quite easily just not use blockchain. Most of them don't really have most of them aren't like based in blockchain. They just sort of use it as a way to say that they're using blockchain. But it's kind of weird that crypto has such a bad name, and blockchain seems to have avoided that stigma to some degree. I'm hoping that there'll be a lot more blockchain-based games, and then assets can be shared amongst different games, which would be cool. Yeah, even on Sushi Chain, if I build like 2 games, say I build a trading card game, and then we build something else which has assets, then potentially those assets could be used in the game as well, and vice versa. You could take your assets from Guardians of Axum and use them in another game. That would be cool. Right. Maybe it's time just to show some game art. So I'm feeling a little bit tired of looking at the editor now. So here's a sneak preview of some of the cards that we were working on. This is Angel Euphrates. She's an angel, and this is Lord. Is it Lord? No, I think this is King Asmodean. He's from the demon race. And then this is King Dominic, and he's a paladin. And then the final theme is a undead. So at the moment, our artists are working on some more cards to supplement these, and we're going to have a card pre-sale. I don't really know how many cards we're going to have to create to do a reasonable card pre-sale, but definitely there'll be a lot more angels coming, a lot more demons of different sizes and shapes, and a lot more paladins. And I think probably for a pre-sale, only sell the character cards and all the minions and swords and weapons and things like that. Probably do those a bit later on. The demon is a little bit ferocious, but he's got an awesome axe. His axe is awesome, but in all the shots we can never really see his axe because it doesn't quite fit on. So the new cards that are coming, the artists are doing, we're trying to get their weapon to be visible in the card. I think for some of the cards we'll have separate cards just for the weapons. Like Angel Euphrates, she has a bow, and this paladin, he has a big sword and a big shield, but you can't really see those that well. Thanks. Yeah, I've been trying to focus on creating some nice artwork that people would like to have. Yeah, the gameplay is going to be based a little bit like Hearthstone, more like Hearthstone than Magic the Gathering. I haven't played Keyforge. A lot of my friends are talking about it though. It looks pretty good. I think that's the one that has unique decks. Every single deck is unique, I think. Is that Keyforge? But yeah, it's going to be awesome. Right now the game designers are working on more of the mechanics. That's why I'm building this prototype, so they can play around with the game mechanics. And the rest of the game, all the screens and the collectors, cards, screens, all that stuff, that's all being worked on right now by one of the other artists. And this is the logo, Guardians of Axum, and there's various characters going to be coming, and I'm going to have to give them all awesome names. Yeah, it's funny. I went to Silicon Valley Expo in November, and I had a massive stand with the angel on it, Euphrates, and people would just come over and just stare at at the angel for ages, and we had to keep moving people on, saying, you can't just stand and block the view, because there was a lot of people. It was really cool. Okay, let's do this last bit so I can go get some sleep. Yeah, so I just need to build the back end submit basically. So let's switch back to Crystal. It's here, so we've only got a get right now. So interesting that to deregister I'm going to need to create some database tables, and I think I'm just going to go fast and not worry too much about anything, because I guess this app isn't really going to go very far. Not going to go much further than the game designers playing with it and me playing with it. Though I do have to be careful not to suddenly start playing with the game instead of doing some real coding work on it. Might get lost for a bit actually playing the game. I suppose that's a good sign that the game is working. If I spend more time playing it and testing it than actually coding it. Right, need some crypto stuff here. Well, crypto, that's something I know a lot about, so that shouldn't be too hard. Crypto, let's use bcrypt. Bcrypt, and we will create a password here. We'll take the credentials of the password, and let's have a cost of 10. I think we don't want to be too intense. Right, I'm going to create a repo, a user repo. I'm going to create a new, all this user class stuff as well. But I like to just type it out first, so I know what I'm going to build. Email, name, and password. And the password is actually the password hash that we store, because that's how we do it. Right, on success, I'm going to create the helper method, and then I'm going to create a user here. Okay, and then context. Oh yes, I'm going to create some session stuff here. Yeah, this stuff's quite interesting. Maybe it's a little bit ambitious to think I'm going to do all of this right now. Well, we'll keep going. I know this stuff pretty well, so it shouldn't take long. Famous last words. Okay, let's build all those things. So on params, I need to build. I need to import some stuff, and I need to build a user and an on success. So let's see. On params and stuff like that, I'm going to put all that stuff in a endpoint helpers, which is going to live inside GoMec, I believe. That's a good place to put it. Endpoint helpers in here, just out here. Endpoint helpers.cr. Okay, module. This is, now when you switch between languages, it gets a bit confusing, especially when the syntax highlighting is very similar. So on params, so I'm going to pass in the context. Right, let's get all generic-y now. Let's pass a class. I'm going to call it a t.class and give it a block, because everyone needs a block. Do for all t, which is Crystal's way of being generic. And then result, that's equals class. Let's parse this. Let's do a context to JSON, pass in the context, because that'll be easier to deal with the context that way. And then let's create some HTTP codes so we can just easily reference them. Bad request, I think, would be a good one here. Context and a message, which is going to be the result. And then if there's a yes, if it's fine, result is a t, and then we'll yield the result. Okay, that's on params. Right, on success, let's take the context and the result, which is going to be a db success or a db failure. So I need to write that stuff. Now then, I think, yes, I'm going to make a way to pass in a custom error, because I can see in a little bit I'm going to need that. Return, right, if custom, so this is a nice thing in Crystal. It has ternary expressions, which Scala doesn't have, and I've been doing loads of Scala recently, and so I kind of miss having them. Result.value. Right, and then okay, custom error, let's call that, unless result is a is what is a DB success. Ooh. This is like infrastructure wiring stuff. And when all this is done, it's going to yield the results, the value. Right, and the other thing, we're going to need an is logged on at some point, but maybe not just yet. So HTTP codes, let's create some of those, just at the top level of GoMec. New file. HTTP codes.cr. I need to type mint there. That means I'm getting tired. HTTP codes. Right. Def self bad request. And then the response hash. Kind of as well. When I switch between Mint and when I switch between languages in general, I use the wrong cases. So I've used a bit of camel case here, a bit of snake case somewhere else. Right, what do we need here? Oh yes, we need to create set. Takes context, takes response hash and a code, and then we're going to set that onto the context. So context response status code is going to be code, and then the context response print response hash to JSON, and then context response.close, and that is how you set the bad request. And what do I need here? Bad request and DB stuff. Okay, so let's go back to register. So now we need bcrypt, and I think I need to import that up here somewhere. Yes, require crypto bcrypt password. I think that's it. Oh, I need to require JSON here as well. And what else do I need? I'm going to need Camel, which is the web framework. Totally going to need Camel session, because that's my library. Totally going to need... Actually, no, it's not true. Camel session is not my library. Camel session rethink DB is my library. And also my other library, Crystal Rethink DB. That's my Rethink DB driver library. And what have I got here? GoMec repos. I think that's everything. So we've got bcrypt. Right, I need a user. So I think that I'm going to put that into its own. I'm going to create a domain, and I'm going to split the UI and the DB stuff. So the DB stuff will have domain objects that write into DB, and the UI will have domain objects that render out to the UI. That'll keep a nice separation. So domain. Let's have DB and UI inside here. Oh, I can't type. New folder, DB, new folder, UI. Okay, so we're very close now. So UI registration credentials are going to sit inside UI, and DB user is going to sit inside DB. Alright, so let's do user first. New file, user.cr. Okay, class user. Just got a bit excited there. Right, JSON mapping. So here we have a string ID. It's going to be a UUID, email, name, password, hash, string. And let's have a getter on ID, and it might be empty, so we'll do that. Def init. Oh, it always does this double thing when the editor decides it knows better. Oh, I've been totally watching Adam on Twitch. In fact, he was the first sort of developer I started watching on Twitch when I first started. Hey, did I type email twice? When I first started watching Twitch, everyone was just like gamers, and then I came across this guy doing coding, and I was like, wow, didn't know that anyone streamed coding really on Twitch. But yeah, he was doing it, and he makes it look so easy, like he's a total professional. Not like me. I just totally struggle my way through streaming here. And also he's been doing it for a good 3 years now, so there is a lot of experience that he picked up which I have no idea about yet. Right, to ID. The other thing as well that is weird, when I get really tired as well, it's just really hard to do anything. And he when you talk for a while as well, you get tired, and he's been basically coding for 8 hours every day and streaming it, which is, wow, pretty hardcore, I think. Okay, almost there now. Only got 3 things left to do. So registration credentials is next. New file, registration credentials.cr. It's funny on his stream as well. People come into his stream and like they maybe popped in and then they came back a bit later, and then they're like, hey, you're still on that same thing that you were on like 3 hours ago when I stopped by. And I guess that's, if you've got loads of people in your stream, it must be a bit distracting to be able to focus on coding and interact with the stream at the same time. I'm going to create this JSON to object thing because I'm going to be using it all the time. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this quite a lot. I think I'll stick it in a util class. Time for folder. I'm going to call this JSON util.cr. Right, def JSON to object takes a class and some JSON. What does it do with it? Right, let's not ensure. I want to rescue. Okay, so this will just say class from JSON, We're in the rescue, just give us the message back. I think this is a good place to put that context JSON, which I haven't written yet, but was explaining before that I'm going to use it all the time. Just that body. Oh yes, so we don't want this to be nil. I want to get to the end because it's a stream where I used that. Okay, I must be pretty close now. Let's go back to this. So on params, yeah, I did that. I did this. I did the password stuff. I created a user. Now I don't have a user repo yet. That's a database, and I don't need a session. Oh yes, this is setting the session up, so I need to bring the session stuff in. So I brought it up here, but I think I need to create a session table. And what's in my create DB so far? We create database. That's in repos. This is database. So right now I'm only creating the database. So what I'm going to have to do is go create all of the repos that I need, and well, I think I'll just create the user one right now, and the sessions one. So DB env database name table create. This stuff's really easy. Users run at connection. And once all the wiring gets done, it's amazing how fast everything else sort of pops into place. Database name table create. Right, so I'm going to store the sessions in the database connection. Right, that's all we need for database. That's going to create the base stuff we need. We just really need a user repo and a yeah, I think that's what we need, user repo. So let's create one of those. User repo.cr. Right, class user repo. No, user repo. Okay. So I think let's include DB. Once I get this infrastructure stuff done, you see I can't have that. Right, pass connection. So this at connection's cool in Crystal. The at lets you create a instance variable or class variable straight in there without having to do extra steps. Right, so let's say you can only have a unique email address. So we'll start with insert and we'll take a user because we had that thing before. Now I haven't written this success thing yet. But I'm going to do that after I get to the bottom of this. So insert, so on no existing email, give it the user email, user's email, and then we'll say r.table, go look in the users table and insert the user as a hash, and then go do it. And then we'll find by ID result, and this is going to return the IDs as generated keys from RethinkDB. So we'll just get the first one of those. Right, so now we need to find by ID. So find by ID, obviously you should take the ID as a string, and it's going to return a success or failure, and result is going to be look in the users table, get it by the ID, run the connection. If it's nil, then do a db failure.new and say sorry, no user was found with the ID with string interpolation ID. Otherwise, db success.new, let's return the user from JSON result raw. Well, this is the quickest way, but yeah, okay. So now I need to create on no existing email def on no existing email. So I give it the email as a string and a block, and then it's the same return type. You don't have to put the return type on here, but it's much easier just for clarity to put it on. Right, so I'd say on existing email, because then we can reuse that. When there's a db failure, just yield it. Else return the failure, and we'll say sorry, a user with the email, whatever the email was, already exists. Right, so now we need a on existing email, which I'll just put here. This should take the email as a string, and we'll also give it a block, and then again this will return a success or a failure. Where did this finish? Def end, end. Why is this all the way out here? Okay, let's make a query, our table, look in the users table. Right, let's filter it by email. Let's run that connection, and then case query, so when it's a rethink db cursor, else, and on the else case we'll just yield a failure. Yield, oh, I'm getting really tired now, I can't type. Actually, I was used to type when I started. And all this stuff is like boring. I want to play with nice graphics and shiny things now. Okay, so right, so we need to query to an array and then map the array and then get the user from JSON, get the raw user to JSON, and then we're going to yield if the result's empty because that was a filter. Then we're going to say, hey, sorry, it's a failure. And here we'll say, sorry, no user was found with the email. Otherwise, it's a success. Success.new result.first. Right, that I think is the entirety. Well, that's all we need right now anyway. So now we go back to GoMac. So we've done repo. We need to put the user repo somewhere. At the moment we're just referencing it, and also I think we're gonna have to bring in the util stuff up in GoMac. Here, so require GoMac util. So I've got repos, util. Oh yes, I need the domain stuff I wrote as well. So domain db domain UI. Right, I think it's about time I created the success and failure stuff now. So I'm going to create that over here because it belongs in database. So module db. So very close to finishing now. Success. This is going to be generic. It's going to have a property of value, and I'm going to def initialize the value. It's going to be a t. And that's what I need for that. And then the failure, and that. This is going to have a property of value definitionalize. Again, this is going to take the value, which is going to be the error message, which is a string in this case. So that's success and failure. So do I have everything I need now? Let's see. Context session. Yeah, I need to bring in the repo. Now I'm going to bring it in at the top of the module. Yeah, so up here, there's a few things I need to do to make it all hang together. First thing is I need to include the endpoint helpers. I need to include the rethink DB shortcuts. I need to load the environment, which we did yesterday, and this is going to be the camel environment. Right, I need to make a connection to the database. Host is going to just be localhost. I can move this stuff into the connection. I can move host into the connection config if I want. I'll only do that here for now because don't know if I'll need to do that just yet. User repo, new, give it the connection. That's it. Right, now I need a session. That's all I need. So camel session config do config. This will wrap things up now. So we're going to drop a cookie. This is going to be GoMec. We're going to create a secret. Just going to call this GoMec secret. And we're going to use an engine. It's going to be my engine. Camel session rethink db engine. Rethink db engine new takes the connection. That's going to create all the session stuff. Now we need a timeout for the cookie for the session. 1 week should be enough. I think that's it. Let us restart this and see what fails. Ah yes. So syntax error, user repo CR 11. Right, find by ID. Oh yes. Well, this is a bit weird. Insert. I think it's this as a problem. Okay, information not loaded named argument is line 20. Oh yes, okay, here. So db failure dot new. It's great having a compiler. F31, 31. Yeah, same problem. This because I'm tired. Lucky the compiler catches it. User CR6. That's in the DB. User CR6. 6. Yes, there should be a space there. On existing email. Block, but no block was given. Okay, user repo 27. So we could do with creating an empty block version of this. I'll do it under here. So def on existing email just takes the email as a string, and then on existing email takes the email, passes it through, and then here we just do a placeholder block just to keep it happy. Internal error. Endpoint helpers. Yes, I didn't implement internal error. I did pub request. Let's create that. Def self internal error takes the context on the response hash and just sets it. Context response hash, and this is like 500. Yay, all good. So now we can go to the 8085, which is where the Explorer for GoMec lives. So here you can see this create the sessions table already. Actually, we need to run the GDB that will create for us the database structure. Here we go. Users and sessions we have now. And now we'll go to Data Explorer and we'll do r dot table users using table is not existing. Oh yes, okay. It's not quite what we want. We actually want where's user repo users, our table users, test.users. Okay, let's use the right DB. Go make dev dot table users. Right, nothing in there yet. So, but now, if I was to go here and put an email address in, let's say kings@me.com, name Kingsley, password is password. Let's register. Actually, this is going to take me to the 404 because we don't have a dashboard page yet. But if we look in here, yay, here we go. That's my email, my ID, the name and the password hash. So the user has been entered into the database. So the next step really is just to tomorrow I'm going to build the login page and do a bit more routing, so you go to a dashboard if you're already logged in, and maybe I will just shrink these boxes a bit so they fit in with some padding or something. Yeah, that's cool. That's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll be streaming every day. I'm on UK time, so I'm like between 9 and 11, I think, every day. So thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.